Quarterback competition underway, Tyler, in spring practice. Gino Guidugli, the quarterback coach, met the media late last week. Anything stand out from his comments?
Yeah, I'll go through the top three guys because what Marcus Freeman said last week was that this is a three-way quarterback competition, right? So you got to spend a little bit of time on all three of those guys, and that's what Gino Guidugli said. What he said about Steve Angeli, the senior, the incumbent, if you will, he's the guy that has the most experience of the three. Still not a whole lot of it, but Guidugli said, hey, he is approaching this thing like it is his job to lose. Not just his job to lose either, like it's his job already. And that's not to say he's egotistical about it or, he's taking things for granted. He's just in there like, hey, I'm the senior. I'm the elder statesman of this group, and I'm going to be the guy that's starting on August 31st at Miami. So that's Angeli's thing. Kenny Minchie's thing is that he might be able to provide something to this battle that the other two can't, and that's the athleticism. And Gino Guidugli said straight out what Marcus Freeman said sort of the other day was, hey, Kenny Minchie thinks he's faster than Riley Leonard, and maybe he can do a little bit more with his legs than Riley Leonard. Freeman wasn't going to go as far as to say that, but Guidugli went as far as to say, yeah, I think he is the most athletic quarterback. And there's something to be said for that because I think I said it either on this program or I've said it before. The quarterbacks who have been really impressive over the last 10, 15, 20 years in college football are the guys who, yeah, they can make all the throws, but they can also do some things with their legs that put them in the category of a magician or a magic man, if you will. And maybe that is what Kenny Minchie is. We'll see if that manifests. And then CJ Carr, he's the youngest of them, but man, is he impressive. I think he probably has the most arm talent of those guys. And then what Guidugli said about him was, yeah, he doesn't carry himself like the sophomore, the guy that has been here fewer years than the two ahead of him on the depth chart, if you will, if that is what the depth chart is at this time. He's in this thing. He's a factor, and that's why it is a true three-way competition, because even all the way down to the sophomore CJ Carr, you've got a guy that could start college football games at a really high level.
The one thing that maybe we know the least about from these quarterbacks is Kenny Minchie's ability to throw the football. I think what you said is what most people always point to. He's a great athlete. He's a guy that can run the football. Where do you think he needs to take the biggest jump this spring?
Yeah, I had a conversation with Kenny Minchie, and I'll just go to that last week when we got Guidugli and the quarterbacks for availability. And I asked him, hey, what are your strengths? What do you provide to this quarterback competition that can maybe set you apart? He didn't talk about the athleticism that he mentioned to Freeman or what Guidugli said. He said he's an accurate passer and he's got arm strength. And he said that he could throw the ball. He hasn't done this in a while. It's funny. He said Sam Hartman, going back to his time at Notre Dame, they would do long ball competitions. And Kenny Minchie said, yeah, I could hit 70 yards pretty easy. I don't know how much, 2 years, if he's lengthened that at all, but 70 yards, that's a pretty good toss for an NFL quarterback. So if Kenny Minchie is doing that, then yeah, he does have an arm. What he needs to do in terms of your question is just that. It's like separate himself. It's like, why is Kenny Minchie in the fans' eyes the forgotten about guy, but in his eyes, the guy that can actually win this job and be Notre Dame's starting quarterback? So he's got a spring practice slate to do that, the summer, and then the fall to say, hey, I'm better than these other two guys, and this is why. He needs to do that.
Tyler, 2 years ago, there was a part of the 23 season in which we had a 5 running back rotation. Last year, that was cut back. Now a new running back coach. It doesn't sound like we're going to see a 5-man running back rotation. If that's the case, who's the odd guy out?
Yeah, there might be odd guys out because, like you said, Jawan Sider, I think, while a lot of his principles mirror those of Dylan McCullough, I think he is also a little bit more traditional in the sense that he might ride a running back to the tune of 15, 20, 25 carries, maybe, if that's what, like I don't know what Jeremiah Love's career high is, but I guarantee you it's not as high as many Notre Dame fans want it to be, because Dylan McCullough often let Jadarian Price get his run, and then Aeneas Williams. And then, like you said, going back a couple of years ago, it was, Jabron Payne and Devin Ford were even in the mix with Audric Estime and those guys. So this year it's Love, it's Price. And then that's where the competition comes in. Can Jabron Payne unseat Aeneas Williams for the role that Payne had just a couple of years ago as that number 3 guy? And then where does Williams fall in that if he does get unseated? Is he on the field at all? Or is he in the camp of Kedron Young and Nolan James? I think those are the two guys right there where you kind of draw a line. I think Sider's going to draw a line at 3, to be completely honest with you. It's going to be Love, Price, and a third guy. I would still bank on that being Aeneas Williams because he kind of has that hot hand. It's been a while since we've seen Jabron Payne be that guy. But in terms of Kedron Young, Nolan James Jr., and then whoever loses that number 3 competition, you're just not going to see them on the field as a bunch because I'm kind of with Sider on this. You got to give the ball to a core trio at the most. And really, it's a top 2. It's going to be Love, Price, and then a third guy gets a little bit. But you're kind of drawing the line there. And then, like I said, you have some odd guys out in the bottom 3 of that depth chart.